Welcome to UC San Diego Health. This will be your benefits new hire orientation. The presentation will be broken up into 3 separate parts. First, we will take a look at eligibility and enrollment, as well as some available resources to you, and then your healthcare plans. Next, we will take a look at disability and life insurance policies available to you, as well as some additional benefits, including legal, flexible spending accounts, and pet insurance. Finally, we will take a look at both your primary and voluntary retirement options. Let's jump in first with eligibility and enrollment. You are in your period of initial eligibility as a new hire. The same applies if you are converting from a temporary or per diem role to a career role. You will have 31 days from your hire date or conversion date to make your benefit selection. Please note that once you hit confirm in At Your Service online, which I'll be showing you in a couple of slides, you may not log back in to alter your elections. If you've made a mistake or you've had second thoughts on a plan that you initially chose, please reach out to the Health HR team and we'll help you out. Please allow 30 to 60 days for your benefits to process. Rest assured that you are covered as of your first day of your new hire date. That said, if you wish to retain coverage quicker, perhaps you have an upcoming doctor's appointment or a prescription that you need to fill, I'll show you where on the HR website you can search to expedite your benefits. With respect to how much your benefits cost, your medical plan rate will be based on your annualized salary. For those of you that happen to be a percentage of 100%, perhaps you're an 80% career, 90% career, 60% career, for the purpose of health plan costs, you'll want to take your hourly rate and multiply that rate by 2,088. In essence, that will annualize your salary for the purpose of your health plan cost. Please note that on all UC websites, whether it be UCNet or At Your Service, rates are cited in a monthly fashion. If you're paid once a month, the rates that you see are what you will pay. However, if you are paid every other week, simply take those rates and divide by 2. Here at the university, you have the option to take your medical benefits on a post-tax basis. If you wish to do so, you will click the decline option for TIP. TIP is going to be your pre-tax indicator within your enrollment and At Your Service. If you enroll for TIP or if you bypass TIP, your benefits will default into a pre-tax deduction. Now, as I mentioned, if you would like to have your medical deductions taken on a post-tax basis, simply decline the TIP option. You will be asked to verify your eligible dependents. So if you are enrolling a spouse, domestic partner, or child, you will receive a packet from a company called Unify HR within about 2 months of enrollment. This is what the packet looks like. Please note that the dependent verification process is not a barrier to your family's enrollment. Your family will have the same effective date as you, so your hire date or your conversion date. This process is simply a follow-up to ensure that those individuals that you enrolled for coverage are truly eligible dependents of yours. Let's jump into the resources. Your most valuable resource here at the UC is a website called UCNet. UCNet will give you access to a myriad of things. All the plan documents in case you're curious about a certain service being covered by your insurance policy. UCNet is also where you'll look to find a provider directory. Perhaps you're new to the area and you need to find an in-network doctor. UCNet is also where you can go to compare plans. UCNet is also one of the ways you can access At Your Service online, which we also call AYSO. AYSO is where you will log in to make your benefit selections as a new hire or a conversion. As a first-time entrant, You will log in to At Your Service online using your social security number and your full date of birth. Please note there are no dashes or slashes within the social security number entry or within the date of birth entry. For date of birth, you will do 2 numbers for month, 2 numbers for day, and 4 numbers for year. Once you've logged in, you'll be provided with your username. It's typically going to be your first initial last name. If you have a more common name, you might find an additional letter or number in there for you. Once you have that, you will be asked to personalize your password. It's what we're all used to: 8 characters, 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, a number, and a special character. Please be mindful to commit this password to memory, as you will be using it quite a bit, especially as you start here at UC San Diego Health. This is what At Your Service will look like when you log in. First and foremost, make sure that we have your correct contact information. Specifically, if you happen to have moved to California from out of state. Here at the UC, we've got 2 medical plans and 1 dental plan that are HMO options. Those options will only be made available to those folks who have a California address. So if you have recently moved and you have not yet updated your address to a local San Diego or California address, please do so before logging in to enroll. That way you can make sure you have all the appropriate plans made available to you. Benefits enrollment is where you will log in to make your benefit selection as a new hire. Please be mindful to hit confirm within your benefits enrollment. When you have successfully confirmed, you will have a confirmation statement with a confirmation number. Additionally, you will have a confirmation emailed to you, both to your UC and personal email address, if that is how you chose to be communicated with. Please keep that email. That is going to be one of the ways that you can confirm that all is well with your benefits. One additional way to make sure that everything looks good is by logging into current enrollments. Current enrollments will populate with your successfully confirmed benefits 24 to 48 hours after you hit that confirm button. So as a secondary way to ensure all is well, in addition to that confirmation email, log into AYSO, click on current enrollments, and you'll be able to see your active benefits. Finally, your earnings statement is going to be an additional way to make sure that your benefits are correct. Make sure that you are getting deducted for the appropriate plans and that the deduction amounts align with what is on your confirmation statement. If you have any additional questions, you've got 2 great ways to reach out to your human resources team. The Health HR team may be found at 619-543-3200. If you're dialing in from an internal phone, you'll simply dial in extension 33200. Option 2 will get you to the benefits team. Also, we have the HR website, hhr.ucsd.edu. Here's what it looks like. As I mentioned earlier, if you are interested to speed up your benefits enrollment, so perhaps that 30 to 60 day timeframe is not amenable to you, you'll simply type in the word benefit expedition or expedition of benefits in the search function here. By doing so, you will be provided with instructions on how to expedite coverage with the carrier so you can fill a prescription sooner or see a provider quicker than that 30 to 60 day timeframe. Search function will also be fantastic if you're looking for additional HR-related information. Perhaps you're new to the UC San Diego Health and you are super excited about the availability of perks and discounts. Simply search discounts in the search function and you'll be able to find all the discount codes available to you as a UC San Diego Health employee. Now, some of us may not simply need information. Perhaps you're newly married, or you've had an adjustment to your benefits eligibility elsewhere, or if you have a question regarding your health plan specifically. You'll click on the New Request button on the HR website as a way to engage the health HR team. You've got a team of benefits team members that are available for you. Now let's dive into your healthcare plans. The way we will proceed with this part of the presentation is first, we will build a foundation. We'll get a good working understanding of HMOs versus PPOs. 10, we'll dive in a little bit deeper to see how the two HMOs stack up on a side-by-side basis and how the three PPOs look against one another. When you are enrolled for an HMO plan, there is a sense of predictability in how much you will pay out of pocket when you go to the doctor's office. So for example, an office visit will set you back $20. If you happen to go to the emergency room, your copayment for that will be $75. Now, please be mindful that when you are enrolled for an HMO plan, you must go through your primary care provider as a means to access specialized care. So when you're enrolled for an HMO plan, whether it be the UC Blue and Gold plan through HealthNet or the plan through Kaiser, you will need to work with your primary care provider first if you want to see any sort of specialist. So if you would like to see a dermatologist, you must first see your primary care doctor. Let them know that you would like to be referred to a dermatologist, after which time they will write up that referral for you. For some folks, the low predictable copayment costs aligned with an HMO plan far exceed the additional burden of perhaps an additional doctor's visit before seeing a specialist. This is completely up to you. I do want to point out that the HMO options, both medical and the one that's available for dental, are only available to those who reside in California. This is especially important if you happen to have kiddos or adult dependents that live out of states. If this is the case for you, you will want to consider one of the PPO plans that we'll speak about next. When you are enrolled for a PPO plan, there is a sense of flexibility in how you access your care. You may self-refer to a specialist. If you wish to retain services at more than one hospital system, you're absolutely more than able to do so. All three of the PPO plans, so UC Care, Health Savings Plan, and Core, utilize the Anthem Blue Cross Network. The Anthem Blue Cross Network is available nationwide, and you'll find a greater choice of providers. Now, although the PPO does provide a lot more flexibility in how you access care, the financial model is going to be a little bit different. When you are enrolled for a PPO plan, you must first meet a deductible. That is going to be your financial input towards claims before the insurance policy kicks in. So if your deductible is, let's say, $250, you will first need to meet that deductible. Once you meet $250 in claims thereafter will have a cost share. The university will absorb 80% of the cost of the bill, and your financial responsibility will be 20%, up to an out-of-pocket maximum. We'll go into detail with that in just about 2 slides. But overall, if you are comparing HMOs versus PPOs, HMOs provide more predictable out-of-pocket cost. However, there is going to be the issue of going through a primary care doctor first to have access to specialized care. As I mentioned, for many folks, especially if you've been on an HMO plan before, that is not an uncommon occurrence. So you're probably quite used to it at this point. Now, for those folks that are more interested in the freedom and flexibility of a PPO option, please be mindful that you'll first be subject to a deductible. Once you meet that deductible, there's going to be that cost share. So first dollar spend is going to be on you up until that deductible point, at which time the cost share will kick in. Now let's dive into the HMO options, why don't we? Remember, HMOs are available to those who reside in California. Both the UC Blue and Gold HMO and the Kaiser plan are really, really quite similar. We'll talk about the differences later, but first let's take a look at what makes them similar. On both of these HMO plans, as well as the PPO plans that we'll be speaking of next, preventative care is covered in full. So you are not financially responsible for your preventative visits with your doctor. So maybe that's your annual visit, men of a certain age prostate exams, women of a certain age mammograms, well woman visits, pediatric preventative care visits, immunizations, flu shots. Those are covered with the cost of your plan. So please do not let finances burden you when it comes to accessing preventative care. You do not pay for that. Now, if you've purchased an HMO plan in the past, perhaps you purchased coverage on Covered California, for example, you may have found that there are HMO options that do have a deductible. The two policies that are available through the University of California do not have a deductible. So what that means is, when I go to the doctor, I immediately am paying co-payments for services. So for an office visit, it will be a $20 copayment. For an emergency room visit, it'll be $75. Now, if you are admitted to the hospital following that emergency room visit, you will not pay the $75 copayment. In lieu of that, you will pay a $250 admission copayment. You'll also see that prescription drugs are a low copayment model. Now, all of our healthcare plans do include behavioral health. I do want to call out, though, one nuance that's specific to our medical HMO plans. When you are enrolled for the UC Blue and Gold plan, you will actually go through MHN for your behavioral health services. They have a wider array of providers available. That way, you have more access to behavioral health care. On the Kaiser side, though you may go to Kaiser, you may also access behavioral health providers through Optum. If you choose to go through Optum and when you seek services through MHN, your first 3 visits are free. After that 3 visits, you will go into a $20 copayment for all future visits. Now, up until this point, the plans are quite similar. $0 deductible, low-cost copayments, carved-out behavioral health networks. All things equal, or most things equal, when comparing to HMO plans, the paycheck deduction cost differentiator is how many providers are available within the network. Now, the UC Blue and Gold plan will cost a little bit more out of your paycheck. However, you will have a wider array of providers available to you. Please be mindful that if you do live in the San Diego area, that Scripps is not a participant of the Blue and Gold network. Again, you can absolutely leverage UCNet as a way to find out what doctors are within network. You'll simply visit UCNet, type in UC Blue and Gold or HealthNet, and then on the right-hand side of the screen, you will see a link that says Doctor Directory. Simply click that. You can search your provider by name, or if you're new to the area or in between doctors, you can plug in your zip code and how far you're willing to travel to visit a provider. Now, if you're enrolled for the Kaiser plan, you will find that the payroll cost is actually going to be quite less. With that, you are restricted to accessing care only at Kaiser facilities. As an overview, the 2 HMO plans are going to be quite similar in how they function financially. They both do not have a deductible and have a low-cost copayment model. The UC Blue and Gold plan will have a wider array of providers, which in result will have a slightly higher paycheck deduction cost. And then the Kaiser plan, as you are restricted to the Kaiser facilities for care, the cost out of your paycheck will be a little bit lower. Let's move on to those PPO plans. As a reminder, you utilize the Anthem Blue Cross network for all of the available plans, and coverage is available nationwide. That means there's going to be doctors all over the place that are going to be in network for all of the PPO plans. First, let's talk about the UC Care plan. I've considered this to be a traditionally PPO plan with some HMO tendencies, specifically in the financial realm. So we'll jump into that in just a moment. But first, I do want to call out that preventative care, again, is covered in full. If you take a look at that second column, you will see that the individual deductible will be $250 and the family deductible will be $750. Once you meet that threshold for in-network care, your financial responsibility for office visits or any other procedures will be 20%. As a reminder, when you are enrolled for the UC Care plan, You have the flexibility of self-referral. So you do not necessarily need to consult with or obtain a referral from your primary care doctor first before accessing care with specialist visits. Let's talk about some of the things that give this plan an HMO flair. First, prescription drugs. Traditionally, you will not see a low copayment model for prescription drugs that's aligned with a traditionally PPO plan. We'll get to the health savings plan in a moment, but if you notice at the bottom, it says that you must first meet the deductible, after which time there's a co-insurance for prescription drugs. The UC Care Plan has a very, very robust prescription drug benefit built into a traditionally PPO plan. The second financial perk that's quite similar to an HMO is under the UC Select column. So if you select a UC provider, and if you continue to see UC providers, you will have no deductible. And similar to what we saw in the HMO plan, your office visit will cost you $20. So this is a financially HMO perk that's built into a functionally PPO plan. I will point out that because this is a PPO plan, you can actually jump back and forth between seeing UC providers and non-UC providers. Any out-of-pocket expenditure will actually cross-accumulate. So when you're looking at the out-of-pocket maximums, the sum total won't be, for example, $11,700 for individual. Any expenditure under the UC Select column will actually cross-accumulate, and your annual limit will be $6,600 for individual in network. The UC Care Plan is going to be the most robust option that we have. You will find that because of that, the premium cost, so the paycheck deduction for this plan, will be more expensive than the other options that are available. Again, it's quite a robust plan. Next, let's take a look at the UC Health Savings Plan, which is a high deductible health plan. The individual deductible is going to be $1,400. The family deductible is going to be $2,800. Please note that the prescription drug benefit also requires you to meet that deductible first. So if you have no other visits with your provider or procedures or any other claims, but you do have prescription drug costs, the cost of the medication will actually be charged towards that deductible. So you do need to meet that deductible first before the 20% cost share. Before I move into the HSA component, I do want to point out one thing. Now, although the financial burden is going to be on the front end with that higher deductible on that UC Health Savings Plan, the out-of-pocket maximum is actually going to be less than that of the UC Care Plan. So if you're thinking you want to be a little bit more conservative on the front end, perhaps pay less out of pocket at the start of the year, just be mindful that if you happen to have a large bill or a very extensive claim, the out-of-pocket exposure will actually be higher on that UC Care Plan. Whereas the out-of-pocket maximum, so your financial exposure per plan year, will be lower on the Health Savings Plan. Again, please be mindful though, that the deductible is going to be higher. So the potential of having a higher out-of-pocket expenditure at the front end of the year is going to be more prevalent on the Health Savings Plan than UC Care. All right, let's take a look at that health savings account. A health savings account is opened in your name when you enroll for the UC Health Savings Plan. When you enroll for UC Health Savings Plan, you will actually receive 2 cards in the mail. One is going to be the card from Anthem indicating that you are covered under their insurance. The second one will be through Health Equity. Health Equity is going to be the banking card that you use when you visit your providers. One fantastic benefit is each year the university puts in $500 for individual or $1,000 for family into that health savings account for you. So this is free money. If you do begin after the first of the year, that amount will be prorated based on when you enter the plan. So far, the $500 or $1,000 UC contribution has subsisted year over year, and my thought is that will be the intent to do so moving forward. In addition to UC's contribution, you may also make contributions into your health savings account. This is a fantastic way to reduce your taxable income. The annual limit will be $3,550 for an individual, and if you have any dependents enrolled for your policy with you, then the maximum that you can contribute is $7,100. Please be mindful that UC's contributions do go towards those annual limits. So for example, if you started on January 1 and you received UC's full contribution of $1,000, then your annual limit for 2020 will actually be $6,100 because UC's contribution does go towards that annual limit. Now, the biggest benefit of being enrolled for the high deductible UC health savings plan with HSA is that your health savings account funds roll over year over year. There is no limit, the funds never expire. So as an example, perhaps I started January 1 of 2019. I received UC's contribution of $500. Over the course of last year, I also put in $1,000 evenly distributed over all my paychecks in the year. I had no doctor's visits, minus the preventative, which I did not pay for, and I end my first year with $1,500 in my health savings account. Then, in January of 2020, UC gives me another $500 into my health savings account. I am, in essence, starting my second year on the plan with $2,000 in my health savings account. That means that I will not have any out-of-pocket expense until $2001, because the first $2,000 I can charge to my health savings account. Please note that you can use your health savings account dollars towards medical, dental, vision, chiropractic, and acupuncture expenses for yourself and for your family. If you have, for example, a child who is under your spouse's benefit, but they have some orthodontic needs, you can actually use your HSA dollars towards their expenses so long as they're a qualified dependent, even if they're not enrolled for the plan. The HSA provides for great flexibility if you are comfortable with perhaps having that higher deductible. So if it's year one for you and UC gives you your first $500, be mindful that you're not going to have an out-of-pocket expense until $501. However, if you do have a higher cost claim, there will be a higher financial burden at the front end of the year as your as your health savings account has not been funded quite yet. We will be talking about FSAs later, so don't worry. The last medical plan I'm going to review is Core Medical. Core Medical comes without cost, so it's a plan that costs $0. That said, it is a catastrophic health plan. When you are enrolled for Core Medical, there is a $3,000 per person deductible. That means if you have a family of 4, the family deductible will actually be $12,000, meaning the first $12,000 will be your financial expense at which time you will pay a 20% coinsurance. So please be sensitive to the fact that although Core Medical is a plan that costs $0 out of your paycheck, it provides for a very high deductible. So your insurance only kicks in once you have met that deductible. Please be mindful to not enroll for the Core Medical plan if you are enrolled for coverage elsewhere. This will become your primary insurer. So if you happen to be enrolled, for example, under a spouse's plan, you will actually need to expend $3,000 of health expenses yourself before anything can be charged to the secondary insurance, thus invalidating it. So please be mindful to that when you're selecting your plan. The UC does not require you to carry coverage. So if you do have insurance elsewhere, great. Simply waive medical coverage when you are proceeding through your benefits enrollment. One great perk of working for UC San Diego Health is that you have access to a myriad of providers through the many primary care locations here in San Diego. UC also knows your time is valuable, so we've got some great programs for that. First, there's Save My Spot. UC allows you to see how many patients are in line in front of you at an express care clinic and save your spot. That way, if you're not feeling great and you're home ill, you can actually wait it out at home and receive a notification when it's about time for you to go to the express care clinic and be seen by a provider. That way, you walk in and you're seen almost immediately. UC also has the We Care services line. So I consider We Care to be the concierge team that helps UC San Diego Health employees access care at UC San Diego Health. So perhaps you're new to the area and need help finding a doctor, or if you'd like some assistance with making an appointment, or simply navigating your care, the We Care services team is there for you. One new program that we have here at UC San Diego Health is our partnership with One Medical. One Medical is a primary care practice within San Diego, and UC San Diego Health has recently begun a partnership with them. They currently have 3 locations, one in downtown, one in Carlsbad, and one in La Jolla. Well, actually, it's in the UTC area, still within La Jolla. For an individual who wishes to seek services at a One Medical location, the annual subscription fee is actually $199. As a UC San Diego employee, we are waiving that fee. So you may actually access providers at One Medical and not have to pay the subscription fee. Please note that you will still be subject to co-payments that would already be aligned with your health plan. This simply gives you the ability to access providers at the state-of-the-art One Medical locations. If this is of interest to you, first, please be sure that your plan accepts One Medical. At current time, the only option that does not include One Medical within network is Kaiser, because remember, when you are enrolled for Kaiser, you may only go to Kaiser facilities. If you're interested in enrolling for One Medical, once you have elected your health plan, you may either call One Medical or visit their website and indicate our employer code, UCSDOM. By doing so, your $199 annual subscription fee will be waived. Now, we know it takes a lot to decide what health plan it is that you want to select, and there's many variables to consider. I'm going to call out 2 right now that I think are going to be the most important, and oftentimes how we make our decisions. First is cost. We are often making health plan decisions based on our pocketbooks. If you are interested in having a lower out-of-pocket cost when you go to the doctor, you will want to select one of our HMO options, either UC Blue and Gold or Kaiser. If it's important to you to have a lower out-of-paycheck deduction, then Core, Kaiser, or that UC Health Savings Plan will be fantastic options. Finally, if it's important to you to save on your taxes or to reduce your taxable income, UC Health Savings Plan will be great for you because you have that option to defer pre-tax money into that health savings account. Now, if your provider choice is actually going to be leading that decision for you, the PPO options will give you the biggest sense of flexibility. Remember, when you are enrolled for a PPO plan, you may self-refer. And finally, if you simply want to access providers at the University of California, specifically down here in San Diego, the only plan that you may not select is Kaiser. All other UC plans are accepted at UC San Diego Health. UC utilizes Optum as our employee assistance program provider. Optum is available 24/7 to help you in your time of need. Remember, your calls will always be confidential. And when you dial in, you will actually be speaking to a master's level clinician. Now, if you wish to seek services in a face-to-face setting, simply let the individual that you speak with at Optum know, and they will provide you with the appropriate code as well as a list of network providers. And you may see a provider face-to-face, 3 visits for free per incident per year. So at no cost to you, you have access to in-person behavioral health services. Now, if you are a career employee, you have access to dental and vision. If you are a limited employee, when you become career in the future, these plans will be available to you. Let's take a look at those now. The dental plan is free of charge, whether you're enrolling just yourself or a family of 4. The cost out of your paycheck will be $0. With that no-cost benefit, you're actually getting preventative care covered as well. So 2 cleanings and a set of x-rays per year are included in the cost of your plan. Let's talk about what makes these plans a little bit different from one another. First, similar to those medical HMOs, Delta Care USA HMO is only available to those that reside in California. You will get an ID card which will indicate your primary care dentist. That dentist is where you will go for your services. If they need to refer out to perhaps an oral surgeon, they will take care of that for you. As for the cost of services under the Delta Care USA HMO plan, I recommend that you visit UCNet, as a menu of fees can be found there. This will let you know how much you can anticipate to pay for a simple cavity filling or a root canal or an extraction. Now, one of the most robust benefits on the Delta Care USA HMO plan is the orthodontia benefit. There is a $1,000 copayment for orthodontic services. That's a fantastic benefit. Now, if this is of interest to you, I highly recommend ensuring that you are able to find a network provider within the HMO option that is accepting new patients. To do so, you will visit UCNet, route yourself to the dental plan page, and make sure to check the provider directory. One thing to be mindful of is to ensure that the provider, as well as being in network, is accepting new patients. The dental PPO is going to be a lot more flexible. It provides you with global coverage. Note that there are no ID cards that are issued for the Delta Dental PPO plan. So once enrolled, you will actually verify coverage with your dentist using your Social Security number. There's an individual deductible of $50. Once that $50 deductible is met, there is a 20 or 25% cost share thereafter. Please note that the PPO or Premier designation is simply the type of contract that your provider has with Delta Dental. There is no bearing on quality of care. The benefit maximum, it works a little bit differently than that of the medical plan. So on a dental plan, in this case, the PPO dentist has a $1,700 benefit maximum. So for example, let's say you went in for a dental cleaning and an x-ray and it cost $200. That is going to be covered by the plan because you do not pay for preventative care services. However, someone has to pay for that. So that $1,700 will have $200 deducted, and you will have $1,500 left for dental services for the balance of the year. The benefit maximums are per individual in the family. So if you have a family of 4, you're not all vying for the same $1,500. Every individual has their own limit. In addition to the annual maximum, there is also an orthodontic benefit as well that has a lifetime cap. So let's say you've got a kiddo that is going to be needing some braces coming up here soon. The way this plan works is you are responsible for 50% of the cost of the bill, and the maximum that Delta Dental will cover is $1,500. Again, that is a lifetime maximum. So unlike the benefit maximum, which resets each calendar year, the lifetime maximum does not reset. The final item to review in this section is going to be your vision plan. Similar to dental, it is free of charge and available only to career employees. You will not be receiving an ID card when you were enrolled for the vision plan. Similar to that dental PPO, you will provide your optometrist with your social security number, let them know you're with VSP, and they'll be able to verify coverage that way. Your eye exam will be $10. And then if you need some corrective lenses, you've got some options. You may either go with frames or contacts, though not in the same year. You have an every other year allowance of $160 for the cost of your frames. On the off year, you're absolutely welcome to use that contact lens benefit. So you may get frames this year, contacts the next year, and frames the year following. Or you may forego frames in your entirety, like I do, and utilize that contact lens benefit each year. Welcome back to Benefits Orientation. During this section, we will look at the disability and life insurance policies available to you. In addition to that, we'll take a look at the legal and flexible spending account benefits, as well as my favorite, pet insurance. First, I do want to share that the University of California does not participate in state disability. In lieu of participating in state disability, the University of California has underwritten a policy with Lincoln Financial that you can enroll for. That is the means by which you would receive income replacement if you were to be out of work for a personal health condition. As a new hire, you will be automatically approved for the voluntary buy-up that you enroll for with Lincoln Financial. Though you are able to enroll for the disability policies at a later time, if you choose to do so outside of your initial period of initial eligibility, so the first 31 days that you were hired or converted at the University of California, you will be required to submit a statement of health to Lincoln Financial. This is a medical questionnaire that Lincoln Financial will review and let you know whether your request to enroll is approved or denied. Your best bet is to enroll now as a new hire. That way there's no questionnaire and you will be automatically approved. As a benefits eligible employee, you receive a university paid short-term disability policy in your name. Please note that this benefit does not pay much at all, actually. The maximum benefit that you will receive with the university paid short-term disability policy is $800 per month. Please note that this amount is taxable, so you're really looking at more like $680 per month, and that benefit ceases after 6 months. If you're thinking, hey, I probably should get more disability insurance, you'll definitely want to enroll for the voluntary short-term disability plan. By enrolling for the voluntary short-term disability plan, your benefit is improved to a 60% income replacement of your salary. Please note that if you are highly compensated, the limit for this benefit is $15,000 per month. Now, by virtue of its name, the short-term disability plan is just that, short-term. So it will last for the first 6 months of your disability. That's why we highly recommend also enrolling for the voluntary long-term disability option. This continues your short-term benefit of 60% beyond that 6 months. It'll extend through either when your provider releases you back to work and your disability ends, or when you reach Social Security retirement age. All right, let's take a look at how much it'll cost. As a quick reminder, if you were previously working in California, you were paying into state disability. By moving to the University of California, you are no longer paying that cost. Now, in lieu of that, the benefit cost for the voluntary short and long-term disability are based on your age and on your salary. As an example, a 34-year-old making $50,000 a year, the short-term disability plan will cost $14 a month. The long-term disability plan will cost $5 per month for a sum total of $19 per month. Now let's take a look at what this will look like in the event that there is a disability. So for this individual making $50,000 a year, they are typically used to bringing home $4,200 per month. Now, if this individual had not enrolled for the voluntary short-term disability plan, they are only getting the UC paid benefit. So their pay comes to a screeching halt of $800. It's actually, like I said, more like $680 per month. So in this case, this individual is receiving less in 6 months than they were used to receiving for a full 6-month time period. So this is quite the reduction in wages. Now, had this individual enrolled for the voluntary short-term disability plan, again, the cost of that would have been $14 a month. They are actually securing over $1,700 more per month in a disability benefit. Again, this is a short-term policy, so it ceases after 6 months. So if this individual had also chosen to enroll for the long-term disability plan with a $5 per month cost, they would be continuing that benefit again from 6 months to either when the disability ends or when the provider releases the individual back to work, or when they reach Social Security retirement age. It's very important that you consider enrolling for the voluntary disability policies. Now moving on to the life insurance. Our life insurance policies are through Prudential. The same concept applies. If you're a new hire, you're automatically approved for whatever amount that you enroll for. However, if you do choose to wait, if you want to enroll at a later time, you will submit a medical questionnaire to Prudential for review and subsequent approval or denial. Now, all UC employees have a basic life insurance policy in their name. You do not need to pay for this. The university pays for this on your behalf. The benefit is 1 time your salary up to $50,000. Now, if you're thinking that perhaps you need more, maybe you have some mouths to feed, or if something were to happen to you, you'd like your beneficiaries to have a little bit more financial cushion, you'll want to consider enrolling for the supplemental life insurance. We've got 5 options available: a flat $20,000, or 1, 2, 3, or 4 times your annual salary. Additionally, if you have dependents, you may also enroll for dependent life insurance. If you do not select the supplemental plan in the middle and you're just enrolling for the basic one, then the family benefit is $5,000 per person. Now, if you choose to enroll for the supplemental life insurance, so for the buyout, then the spousal benefit will be 50% of yours, and the child benefit will increase to $10,000 from $5,000. Additionally, the University of California offers accidental death and dismemberment insurance, also known as AD&D. This provides an additional payment in the event of loss of life, sight, or limb due to an accident. Now, although the University of California does not offer long-term care insurance, CalPERS has actually allowed for UC employees and retirees to apply through their programming. If this is of interest to you, please visit UCNet, search long-term care insurance, and then you'll be routed to the CalPERS website to apply accordingly. Let's talk about some other benefits that you have. First and foremost is the legal plan through a company called ARUG. This plan provides legal advice, consult, and including document prep for a myriad of things. The way the program works is, depending on what type of claim that you may have, you have a finite number of hours available for the purposes of attorney fees. Please be mindful to enroll any dependents that may be involved in the legal proceedings. For example, if you and your spouse are preparing your will or a trust, you will want to ensure that your spouse is also enrolled for the plan so that they too can benefit from the enrollment in the ARUG plan and have their legal fees covered up to the limited number of hours based on the type of claim that you have. One additional benefit that's actually looped into the ARUG legal plan is identity theft protection. When you're enrolled for ARUG, you may log into their website, plug in your personal details, and ARUG will keep a constant scan of your personal items. So if you happen to have a fraudulent charge on a credit card that's out of state, If it's not in tune with your typical usage, you'll actually be alerted by ARA, letting you know there's potentially some fraudulent activity. It's kind of nice to have a second set of eyes on that sort of thing. As a new hire or as a converted employee, you may enroll for the ARA legal plan for yourself and for your family. If you choose to waive at this time, please be mindful that you will possibly have the ability to enroll during open enrollment. UC does not always make the ARA plan available during open enrollment, so if it's important to you to enroll for this now, go ahead and do so, and then you may always cancel at a later time because this benefit is deducted on a post-tax basis. So the 31 days to disenroll that we talked about way earlier on in the previous part of the presentation, that won't apply here because the ARA legal plan is paid for with after-tax dollars. Now, we talked about the health savings account that's specifically aligned with the health savings plan. You also have the opportunity to put aside pre-tax dollars towards healthcare expenses or daycare expenses through WageWorks in the form of a flexible spending account. Now, if you are enrolled for the health savings account, you are not eligible for a healthcare FSA. The reason being is you already have pre-tax dollars going into a banking account that is specific to healthcare expenses. Health FSA is a separate type of account for similar usage, medical, dental, and vision claims for yourself and for your family, but it is irrespective of what plan that you're on. So you may be enrolled for the UC Blue and Gold plan and still have a health FSA. The annual limit is $2,700. Please be mindful that the health FSA as well as the daycare FSA do go into effect on the first of the month after you enroll. So if today is March 15th and you enroll today, then April 1st is when you will have the full balance of the health FSA available to you. Then you simply pay yourself back with pre-tax payroll deductions for the balance of the year. You will be given a debit card for point of sale use for the health FSA, or if you happen to not have your card with you at the time that you had expenses, you'll simply submit for reimbursement. Typically, the way flexible spending accounts work is that they're on a use it or lose it time frame. So if you happen to have some money left in the account at the end of the year, you typically would forego it. Here at the UC, our programming is quite a bit more generous. We allow a carryover of up to $500 each calendar year. So if it's December 31st and you've still got $200 left in that account, no need to run to the pharmacy and stockpile Band-Aids. You can simply let those funds roll over into the year following. We also offer a dependent care FSA. Please note this is for the day care expenses of a qualified dependent, not for health expenses for a qualified dependent. Those would live under the healthcare FSA category. The daycare FSA or dependent care FSA plan allows you to put aside up to $5,000 per year per household to be used towards daycare expenses. This will be on a reimbursement basis. So you will pay your provider, submit for reimbursements, and then you will get reimbursed back that which you would have had deducted on a pre-tax basis. Now, although not a true carryover like with the health FSA, the dependent care FSA allows you to carry over for an additional 2.5 months for the first part of the following year. So if you have, again, with that example, $200 left in your dependent care FSA account at the end of December, you actually have until March 15th of the year following to submit some additional claims. Again, the university is quite generous in how we manage our flexible spending account. So both the health FSA and the daycare FSA do allow for some flexibility at the end of the year if you have some money left in there. I do want to call out that you must enroll for the FSA each year. So unlike our traditional plans, our medical plan, or life insurance, or disability that would typically roll over year, the IRS requires that you actively elect your FSA each year. So just because you had $5,000 put aside for daycare expenses this year, you will not automatically be enrolled for that amount next year. You will actively need to log in to do your enrollment during open enrollment. Now on to my favorite slide. We do love our pets here at the University of California. On this slide, you'll see some of the pets of the Health HR team and beyond. Just a nice little way for us to showcase our 4 or sometimes 3-legged friends. Also say is we do have pet insurance here at the UC. The benefit covers cats, dogs, birds, small mammals, and exotic pets. There is a deductible of $250, after which time 90% of the veterinary costs are reimbursable up to a limit of $7,500. If you have a pet, you know good and well that it's not difficult to get to $250 in health expenses for a pet. So this is a fantastic, fantastic benefit. Please be mindful that unlike human insurance, there are pre-existing condition limitations within the pet insurance plan. One great thing about this plan is the cost of the benefit is actually based on the type of pet you have and where you live. So it's irrespective of the age of the pet. So if you have a kitten or you have a 16-year-old cat, the cost is the same so long as you're in whatever state that you're in. So a kitten in California is going to have the same premium rate as a $16 or $17 cat in California. That's a great benefit. If this is of interest to you, you will simply visit petinsurance.com/UC or call 877-738-7874. Welcome back to the third and final installment of benefits orientation. During this section, we will review your retirement plans. This includes the pension programming, the 2016 tier, also known as the choice program if you are eligible, and the voluntary retirement options through Fidelity. First, the primary retirement plans. This is also known as UCRP or pension. There are currently 3 pension tiers available. The first is the 1976 tier. So if you were hired prior to July of 2013 and you have not had a tier break in service, then you are aligned with the 1976 tier. I'm going to jump to the bottom here and share that the 2016 tier, also known as the choice program, is for those folks that are either unrepresented in the CX, K6, DX, or IX bargaining units. For all other folks, if you were hired after July 2013 and not in any of the unions or unrepresented folks that I spoke of previously, you are aligned with the 2013 tier, which is cited here in the middle. Now let's talk about what this benefit provides. A pension benefit includes a monthly retirement check, a monthly thank you check from the university after you've been here for a while. Also, the program comes with disability income, survivor benefits, and income. If you've been with the university for 10 years, you can actually take your health insurance into retirement. Now, it's not free insurance, but the UC has some really robust programming that we went over in the first part of orientation, and those plans will actually be extended to you after you retire with a subsidy. And finally, there's a cost of living adjustment. So each year, the University of California applies a cost of living adjustment to retirement checks. Typically, it's in the 0 to 6% range, though in the last couple of years, it's been in the 1 to 2% range. So each year in the July timeframe, you will see an annual increase to your monthly retirement income check. Now, in order to be eligible for pension benefits, you've got to do 3 things. First, you will contribute between 7 and 9% of your salary on a pre-tax basis. Please note that this is actually determined by your bargaining unit. So for that reason, you may not adjust your contribution into the plan. So if you maybe want to put in more or put in less, you're unable to do so. The 7, 8, or 9% is explicitly aligned with your bargaining contract. Also, you must be with the university for 5 years full-time. Now, those years don't need to be consecutive. If you work at the university for a couple of years and then depart for whatever reason and then return, so long as you have not liquidated your pension plan, you'll actually pick up right where you left off from a service credit perspective. So if you were at the UC for 3 years and you return even to another UC, let's say UCLA or Irvine, what have you, you'll simply need to do 2 more years, at which time you'll be vested in the program. Finally, you must reach a minimum retirement age of at least 55. Now, let's say you start at the UC at age 35 and you stick around for 10 years, leaving at the age of 45. Now, during that time, you've been putting in 7 to 9% of your salary. You've checked off the box for vesting as well. But because you are not yet 55, you may not retire. You do not need to be an active employee up until the moment that you retire. So essentially, you start at the university, you leave employment, you've got your 10 years. On or after your 55th birthday, you may reach out to the Retirement Administration Service team up in Oakland and let them know, hey, I'm ready to retire. So long as you meet the minimum age requirement, you can begin receiving your monthly retirement income checks. Now, what goes into calculating what that check looks like? There are 3 things that are taken into account when calculating your retirement pay. First is your service credit, then age, then your highest average plan compensation. First, so you do have a minimum requirement of 5 years of service credit. As you work longer for the university, you're actually earning more in your pension check. So someone who works 20 years is going to have a higher pension check than someone who maybe has been here 5, 6, or 7 years. The second component is age. So there is a minimum requirement. If you choose to retire at a later date, perhaps 59, 62, 65, your check will actually increase if you choose to retire at a later date. And finally, your highest average plan compensation. So the 36 consecutive months that you were making the most money at the university, that's actually what's taken into consideration when calculating your retirement. So for many folks, the highest pay you'll get at the UC is at the tail end of your career. However, that may not be the case. You may start as an individual contributor, perhaps you're a star performer and you get moved into a leadership role. You're in a leadership role for a handful or so of years, during which time you're making more money. Perhaps then you decide, hey, I want to stay home and hang out with my dogs a little more. Perhaps I want to go back to the individual contributor role. Even though I may end my career at a lower rate than what I was making in my heyday, that doesn't matter. The UC will look at the 36 consecutive months that you were making the most money, and that will be the indicator of your retirement pay. Let's take a look at a sample. We've got Mary. Mary is with the UC for 20 years and has opted to retire at the age of 65. In her heyday, she was making $4,000 per month. So for Mary, at the age of 65, she will retire and she will receive $2,000 per month for the rest of her life. Now, if she lives to age 95, for example, she can actually receive 30 years of pension checks, even though she was with the university for only 20 years. This is a fantastic benefit. Now, folks always ask, how do I retire at full salary? Well, you just gotta stick around for 40 years. I don't know about you, but that may not be in the cards for everyone. So if you are interested to know what your retirement will look like, what you may want to do is visit the Retirement at Your Service website and see the accumulation of your service credit, as well as your HAPC, your highest average plan compensation, to see what your retirement pay might look like. Let's take a look at the 2016 Choice Program. Now, some folks that may be listening to this program may not necessarily be eligible for this, but it still is worth reviewing. If you are currently unrepresented in the CX, K6, DX, or IX bargaining units and have started with the university after July of 2016, then you are in the 2016 Choice Program, or the Choice Program, or the 2016 Tier. It's got a couple of names. Now, with this program, you actually have to make a selection between the pension plan that we just talked about and an alternative 401k style savings program. Let's take a look at those on a side-by-side basis. As a friendly reminder, the pension plan is a defined benefit, which means that the payment amount is based on that calculation. You must be with the UC for 5 years. And the predictable benefit is a really big value in that pension choice. You will put in 7% to fund the pension, and then the UC is currently contributing 8% plus an additional 6% under the Pension Reform Act. Please note that if the unfunded liabilities piece ever increases or decreases, or if there's an adjustment to the university contribution, that actually won't impact your pension. Remember, your pension is based on your salary, your age, and how long you're with the university, not necessarily the amount that the UC is funding the pension with. Let's switch gears and talk about that savings choice option. The saving choice option has the same contribution amount of 7%. It does function more similarly to a 401k in that there is a match. In this case, the UC's contribution of 8% is in the form of a match into an account-based program with Fidelity. Those funds can fluctuate with market volatility. If the market's doing great and you're invested properly, then the account balance can increase. If there is an issue with the market currently or in the future, then you might find there might be little blips. That said, the way that plan functions is purely based on investments. So be mindful of that, specifically in that money is portable if you were to leave the university. Now let's talk vesting. This is going to be quite a bit different than that pension option. With the savings choice, you will be vested in the savings choice, meaning you are vested in UC's 8% contribution after 1 year of service. That's quite a big difference from the 5-year vesting with the pension option. I do want to point out one thing with the pension choice before moving on. If your eligible earnings exceed $124,180 per year, then you are eligible for a supplemental account. So with the inception of the Pension Choice Program, there were Pension Reform Act provisions that we needed to comply with. One piece of that was a limit on the pensionable compensation. Due to that limit, the UC has opted to fund an additional account for faculty and staff who exceed that amount. For faculty, you will find that an additional 5% of your eligible pay will be placed into that supplemental account. For other eligible staff, once you meet that PEPRA limit, then an additional 3% will be placed into that supplemental account. Now you've got to make a choice. You will visit myucretirement.com/choose to make an election between the pension and the savings option. The sooner you enroll, the sooner you begin earning service credit. So if you delay enrollment into the pension choice, you won't start beginning to earn service credit until you've actually made that selection. Please be mindful that the election is irrevocable. So if you log in and you select the pension choice and then you have buyer's remorse, you're unable to make a change. So be mindful. Perhaps it takes a couple extra days to make that decision. That's absolutely worth it. Give yourself some time, perhaps 10, 15 minutes of focused, undistracted time to make sure that you make no mistakes when you make your selection. If you do not make a choice, after 90 days, you will be placed into the pension option on the 91st day. Again, if you know what it is that you want, You may as well make that selection sooner so that you can begin earning service credit. You do have a couple of resources available to you as you make your selection. First is going to be myucretirement.com. There are videos, side-by-side comparisons available on myucretirement.com. There's also the Retirement Benefits Decision Guide that's available on UCNet. I found this to be the most valuable source of information. It provides a good side-by-side. It gives potential scenarios, a nice way to really engage in this decision-making process. You'll be receiving a couple of mailers from Fidelity if you've not yet made your choice. This is their little nudge to say, hey, time is running out, your 90 days is coming to a close. The sooner you make a selection, the sooner you begin to earn service credit. So just be mindful, if you are aligned with the 2016 tier or the choice program, that you will be receiving a couple mailers from Fidelity. Speaking of Fidelity, let's talk about the voluntary retirement options that are available to you. The University of California offers a 403B, a 457B, and a defined contribution plan, or a DCP option. These plans are administered by Fidelity, and you can make adjustments at any time. If you happen to have a prior retirement account, perhaps a 401k or a 403B with a prior employer, you'll simply reach out to Fidelity using either the website or the phone number cited here and let them know that you would like to roll your funds over into the plan here at UC. Let's take a closer look at what these plans look like. First, the 403B and the 457B. They're really quite similar to one another. Both are pre-tax contributions. Both have the same IRS limit, $19,500 for this year, with an additional $6,500 as a catch-up if you're over the age of 50. Please note, if you have the financial wherewithal to do so, you may actually contribute the full IRS limit for both the 403 and the 457B simultaneously. I will mention that there is no match aligned with either of these options. The university benefit is built into that pension programming. So contributions into the 403B or the 457B are simply an additional way that you can put money aside if you are, let's say, the Marys of the world retiring with 50% of your salary, right? Perhaps you need something to bridge that gap. These programs allow you that option. Let's talk about what makes these plans different. First is loans. The 403B plan does allow you to take loan on your account. So if you're perhaps thinking you were going to purchase a home and you need a down payment, you can actually leverage your 403B and take a loan from your funds and then pay yourself back with interest. The 457B does not have a loan provision, so loans are not permitted. Next piece of differentiation is withdrawals. The 403B does not allow for withdrawals. You will collect your 403B funds once you have reached age 59 and a half. If you are enrolled in the 457B and you leave the university, you actually have access to your funds post-departure, but prior to turning age 59 and a half without penalty. So in that scenario of being at the UC for 10 years, leaving at age 45, if I happen to have had funds in that 457B plan, I can begin collecting that without any sort of a penalty. Now, sure, there will be income taxes taken. However, no additional penalties for withdrawing my 457B. Next, let's talk about that DCP option. The DCP comes in two forms. First is the pre-tax, which is for safe harbor. Now, what that means is if you are a temp services employee, per diem employee, limited employee, in lieu of paying payroll taxes, you will have a 7.5% pre-tax deduction moved into the DCP plan. This is because you are not aligned with the pension programming, because you are not a career employee, and this is an alternative way to fund retirement. The same fund lineup, so the same investment options that are available in the 403B and the 457B will be made available to you in that DCP plan. There's also a post-tax voluntary option available for folks through Fidelity as well. The IRS limit is $57,000. If this is of interest to you, if you've maxed out your 403B, your 457B, and you're wanting even more ways to put money into retirement, I highly recommend reaching out to the team at Fidelity to review options to fund your DCP plan on a post-tax basis. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for your attention. It's been a pleasure. Take care.